Nifty is concerned, it's looking quite dire. We're seeing a lot of pessimism on the street at this point. And Jay, let's just talk about the big factor that's played into this. Ever since the budget, this really has been the concern. And finally, we have a confirmation coming in, and it's not a good one. It's bad news. The finance bill getting passed, and the finance minister saying very clearly that the only route that is now available to FPIs is to come in through the corporate structure, which, incidentally does come with a higher tax rate itself. Clearly, we're seeing FII selling going on. That's what's pulling the market down. DIIs are not being able to offset the kind of pain that's coming in on the FII front. What should we expect going forward from here? How attractive does the Indian market remain now on the back of this surcharge?
Definitely, the way the FPI issue has been handled, it's not the right way to handle, I would say. There's no country where 43% of the taxation is done. So it has clearly, spooked the market, I would say. But apart from FPI issue, there are further issues in the market, right? Even if you talk about the domestic markets, there is hardly any capital expenditure which is happening. And when that will happen, nobody knows. In last 5-6 years, we have not seen any capex cycle moving, either in the private sector or in the PSU. Government has given its plan in the budget that they would be spending on investments, but when and how, nobody knows, and where would the fund come from. So that's one area of concern. Apart from that, if you see in global markets, there are signs of slowdown. There are bond yield reversals happening, and the markets are concerned. So all eyes would be on the upcoming Fed meeting and also the RBI meet, where if any kind of liquidity injection happens in the market, that would help the market in the short run. But broadly, it looks like there are a lot of signs of slowdown, and it's a sell and rise kind of market.
In fact, very interesting, because at the end of the week, global markets rallied. We had Asian markets that closed higher, and the anticipation is we will finally get that Fed rate cut. The voices coming out of the Fed also sounding like they are fairly dovish at this point in time. In spite of that, Friday was the worst selling that we've seen come in for the market. Most of what we lost in the week, we lost in Friday's trade, and that doesn't bode well for either the weekly series or the monthly series, or the week that we have ahead of us as well. But what have you made of earnings, Jay, so far? Because we're seeing stocks simply getting punished, particularly financial names. The reporting numbers aren't too bad. We weren't expecting too much disaster on the bank side anyway to begin with, but the market's punishing them.
Yeah, I think it looks like that, as if we come to know about the numbers, the kind of selling numbers, it looks like more of a FII selling which is happening, and they have the reasons for it. Now, the way the government is acting, I would again come to that point, is, previously FIIs had a dominance, right? Be it on the GAR issue or on the KYC issues of FIIs. Now government feels that there are DIIs who can support that, but the kind of sell-off and the intensity of the sell-off which we have witnessed today, I think, as you rightly said, the DIIs won't be able to offset that. So the names we also need to names and the companies we need to say where the FII holdings are high, those are more vulnerable. And NBFCs and financials were one of them. So we have seen they were bitten hard today. So let's see how the things span out next week.